What's going on? What is going on, everyone? All right. Dwell, what's going on? Matt, happy Tuesday. Hello, everybody. Moving merch. Thoughts on Mercedes-Benz? I'm for them. I like them. How about you? What do you think? How's the month going? We're having a great month. Chad Drake, hello from Land Rover in New Jersey. What's going on, Chad? How are you? David from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Jay, gonna miss Jared? I mean, yeah, of course. Jared was a fun guy. He was a big personality. So, Tristan, any impacts from the tariffs yet? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The tariffs are definitely having a big impact, really on demand right now more than anything, because I think a lot of consumers understand that 2025s are probably going to be a whole lot less expensive than 2026s. So, Aaron, did Jared actually quit? I would say Jared walked away. Yeah. It was, he decided that social media was his passion, and he wanted to pursue that. So I guess you can call that what you want, but I don't really call it quitting so much as I just call it that he decided he wanted to pursue something else. So Rolls Royces are cool, Bentleys are cool. Jeremy, Mercedes 300D manual, old school with matching hubcaps. Thoughts? That sounds really hot, Jeremy. That sounds very hot. Justin, I sell cars, and your sarcasm and demeanor remind me of a lot of my GSM. Okay, I'll take that as a compliment, I hope. Yvonne is starting as a new car saleswoman tomorrow. Any advice? Best advice I can give you, Yvonne, is that you need to figure out who the top performer is at that dealership and study them. Hang around them as much as you can, observe them, and figure out what they do. How do they spend their time during the day? Because success leaves clues, right? If you want to be successful, then look at what other successful people are already doing. Figure out who the 10 car and below salespeople are, and don't hang out with them, right? Because that is industry average, and you don't want to be average, right? Why people quoting your dealership or why people quitting? We don't really have, look, the only two people that have left the dealership in the last year are the two people that happen to do social media. So I think that there's probably this idea that a lot of people are leaving. It's really not that. Well, Yvonne, I would, dress for, I would figure out what the dress code is for that dealership. And, I would definitely make sure that I'm in line with that. So would it be worth getting a lease on an AMG GT or financing it? I always would recommend leasing a luxury car, especially if you're getting a new one, you lease it 100%. So lease. Great content. You're one of the accounts that helped me push to get started. Mike, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Justin, it's the car business. People come and go. Yeah, it's very true. The business historically has high turnover. I'm happy to say that our dealership has, low turnover compared to most, but it is still the car business, right? It's not for everybody. There are a lot of people that try it and they just can't quite get it figured out. I mean, it's a difficult business. There's a lot of rejection. It's up and down. It's, you're not handed like a list of things to do every day, right? Every day is kind of a choose your own adventure, and some people do well with that and some people don't. Brandon, keep up the good work. I'm local and going to stop by and likely buy my next from you if you can find it. That's awesome, Brandon. We'd love to help you with that. Michael, looking forward to my EQS 450 arriving. That's awesome. Michael, did you end up getting an EQS from us? Let me see here. You might have bought it from somebody who is over on the pre-owned side, because I don't see it on the new car log, which is what I'm looking at right now. You have another G63 for me as well? All right. We'd love to have it. That's awesome, Michael. Who'd you work with? I hope they made it easy for you. Congratulations. What are your thoughts on the non-commission-based sales staff? Well, we don't do traditional commissions here. We don't pay gross-based commissions because I believe that salespeople in this industry have nothing to do with that at all. I truly believe that. Aaron, awesome. Aaron's a great dude. I hope he did a great job for you. I love Aaron. Damien, hey Doug, great content. Enjoy seeing the difference in how you guys do business in the U.S. versus us in Australia. Yeah, I hear that a lot from people overseas. They say that it's different there, and they don't always go into the differences exactly, but it's interesting to me that it can be so different from one country to another. So, let's see. Looking for a Sealy 53 lease, please. Alex, we've got you. We've got probably more Sealy 53s than any dealership in the country. All you got to do is, well, first of all, our pricing is available to everybody on our website, right? You go to our website, you can get right into the online express store. You can work your deal right in there, right? All of our cars are pre-priced. We put our best price online. And if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, you want to make sure that the taxes and everything are correct and you know, get a real dialed-in quote based on where you live. If we need to ship it to you, then, you know, just put your information in. We'll go in and tweak it up, and we'll get you a price. I mean, the price is already there, but if you want the totally accurate price based on your scenario, then we'll get that to you within minutes, right? We make it very easy. Wendy, thank you for the bow knot, the little bow tie for my head. I appreciate that. Good to see you, Wendy. Will, do you take trade-ins from non-luxury? Of course, yes. We take trade-ins from every brand. We take trade-ins from every brand, and we work with people all over the country. Wendy, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. That's very generous. So Michael got an EQS sedan from us. Let's see, the one that ends in 442. Let me take a look. What did Michael get? He got, let's see, nautical blue, very nice. Nautical blue with the AMG line exterior package, winter package, multi-contour front seats with massage, the 21s, very nice. Excellent, Michael, congratulations. You're gonna love it. Big EQS fan right here. Mike Smith, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. Thank you to everybody that has been so supportive. Ron, our pay plan is actually very good. Our pay plan is, I'd put it up against anybody. It rewards high performers for sure, but our pay plan, it takes out the possibility that you would get a minimum commission, which at most dealerships, most of what you sell will be minimum commissions, right? So every deal is an opportunity for you to make good money, fair money. You're not gonna hit any home runs here, which would be, I think, a disservice to our clients, and you're not gonna get paid almost nothing, which I think is a disservice to you. So I didn't see any Sealy 53 cars on the website. They would be under coupes and cabriolets, Adam. So if you go to, you would need to go to coupe and cabriolet. Those are where the Sealy 53s will be. Yes, we are hiring. We are hiring. So you can find our job posting on Indeed, and you know, obviously anybody is welcome to apply. If you are in the Cleveland area, that makes it a lot easier. But if not, and you're willing to relocate here, right, we look for good people. We look for good people. Car experience is not required. You know, we look for people that are good at staying busy, that are good at taking direction, that are willing to learn, that have high motors, are self-starters. If you have a high motor and you're good at staying busy, then you will do well in car sales. We will teach you everything that you need to know to do well. Gus, where's your GOK? I think that thing is long gone, my friend. Nick, I'm glad you caught a live finally. Welcome. Dan Walker, keep up the good work, Dan. The GM at Mercedes, North Haven, Connecticut. Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. We do a lot of dealer trading with you and Cindy, great trade partner. So thank you for always being a friend. Did you start your career with MB? So Damien, I technically started my career with Ford. I was with Ford for about 3 months, and then I realized that I wanted to be at a luxury brand. So I knew Mercedes was the brand, so I reached out to a Mercedes dealership, got hired, and the rest is history, as they say. Are y'all hiring a toxicologist? Gus, I don't think we currently have an opening for a toxicologist, although that would be interesting to have on staff. Colin, what can I do for you, sir?
We reached out on this car a few months ago, beginning of this month, and it's still in P2 status. I'm assuming we can just roll with the punches on that.
Just sell it. I'm not worried about it.
Should I have you adjust in here for him, or since he's repeat, can we just honor the price that we just built?
No, I need to make sure it's all accurate. So
All right, I'm gonna go,
just what's,
he's a grand positive, he says, cause from.
what do you mean he says? Are we,
His payoff is 52 on his E53. So he's a grand positive, he's gonna put 5K down, he wants to lease,
okay,
with tire wheel,
all right,
drive up from Virginia again like he did with the GT53 back over last summer.
okay,
So
awesome.
I'm gonna quote this, have you modify, and then we'll just send it.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so lease deals, yeah, we're very competitive on our G580 leases. So anybody who's interested in an electric G-Wagon, we are very competitive on those. Yeah, so Barry, definitely check it out, right? And again, you can go right to our website, and when you're there, you can browse all our inventory, and if you click on the, calculate payments or explore payments button, you can go right into our pricing model. All of our pricing is right there for you. Now again, if you want to make sure that you get the taxes and the fees correct for where you live, you will need to put your information in there. But again, everything we do is about making it easy. So, pricing is not, you don't have to come here to get it, right? We're not going to force you here. We encourage you to do the deal remotely, in fact. So, what else? Ballpark lease payment range on the EVGs. Barry, those are going to be, I don't know, $2,800 to $3,000, generally speaking, somewhere in there, in that neighborhood. So, no more Jared, Ange, unfortunately. Yeah, so Explore Payments is totally accurate, except that when you click on that Explore Payments button, it's gonna be calculating payments as if you're here in North Olmsted, Ohio. So that's gonna be 8% Ohio sales tax and Ohio registration fees. So if you don't live here in Ohio, of course, you'll wanna put in your address. Again, we actually would love if you only do that if you really are wanting to move forward on something, because we do get a huge number of leads, and as much as we love that, I know sometimes it's just people that are exploring pricing. They kind of want to know what the pricing would be, and then that can be, we aren't exactly staffed yet for the meteoric rise in people reaching out that we've had over the last couple months, although we do love it. So hopefully that gives you a good idea. And yeah, we've been selling CLEs like crazy, and so now we have just built up the allocation in a big way. So we've got all of them. So, by the way, thank you for everybody who's been so supportive. It really means a lot to me. If you're not following me already, please hit the follow button, or over on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And thank you for everyone that's hitting the like button, right, as well. That gets us out in front of more people. And so, yeah, we can keep, educating and hopefully providing value and doing some interesting stuff for all of you. So I really appreciate everybody that's been so supportive. It means a lot. Has anyone ever told you that you look like Ryan Reynolds? Yes, I have been told that before, which I thank you. I will take the compliment. He's a handsome dude. Thoughts on Techion? I think Techion is very cool. We looked at Techion, and I would personally be very interested in switching. It's just a huge undertaking, and I'm not sure it's something that we're necessarily ready to do at this point. But I do like the fact that they kind of have a very implemented and integrated system. Josh, business manager from Indiana, love your content. I appreciate that, Josh. Thank you. Stofa Mikey, how many units do you sell per month on average? The store generally does between 150 and 200 a month. Pre-COVID, we did 200 to 250, and we're working on getting back to those numbers. So, have you sold to any celebrities? If so, who? Yes, many celebrities. Lots of Cleveland athletes, several notable sports figures, professional golfers. A lot of fun people.
So I built
All right.
as close as I could
Yep.
to 105/830 sticker. Figured 750 is going to be from PA to get a car there and then bring this here. So
Well, I'm just gonna go in and, so we're just shipping the car in, and then he's gonna come here and get it, right?
correct.
Okay.
But I'm assuming you're going to need round trip shipping, right? Shipping a car there and shipping one back. 750, is that fair?
I'm hoping that I can get around that. So I'm hoping that it's only going to cost
So
us.
just leave that alone then, because it's already in the line
Right.
item.
You're looking at 48-month lease.
That's what he wants to do.
All right. And the car is, what's the actual MSRP of the car?
105,830, and this is at Sun Motor Cars.
Yeah, Michael, so my entire bow tie collection has been gifted to me. Every bow tie, I've never bought a bow tie for myself except for once that I needed one for a black tie wedding and I didn't have one. But all the bow ties that I wear have been gifted, either by friends, family, social media followers. So I will gladly, anybody that wants to send bow ties to the dealership, I will happily accept.
You've gotten 2 Hermes bow ties.
Yeah, I've gotten some really good. This one was actually sent to me. This was sent by a fan. So, you know, I love it. I think it's super cool. I mean, it's kind of this fun thing now where all the bow ties I have, I did not pick out for myself. Other people did. GG, my bow tie. Ben's man, Doug, I'll need you to crunch some numbers, my friend. This is the Geely owner from IG. Okay. Yeah.
Working on a new car for Aaron Wheeler.
We love crunching numbers. That's what we do.
How many people we got in this thing?
Like 200 on TikTok, 115 from YouTube, 64 on Instagram.
Strong.
Yeah, you know, so almost 400 people all in. Just working a deal here for Colin, right? This is a friend from Virginia looking to get their second car from us, which we love. Was he did he originally find us on social media?
This is the GT53 person, the whole story video, where the fake.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites. The guy that the dealership was playing numbers games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yepper.
Love it. All right, and he's doing what, 15,000 miles?
Yeah, I'm really trying to push him to.
Yeah, he's a
20
good
miles
dude.
a year.
He comments on the videos a bunch
All the time.
actually. Yeah.
We love Aaron.
All right.
It's a very nice build as well.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah, it looks like a nice build.
I just can't find the email, so I was gonna have you email Sun Motors back to make sure that car was still.
Don't worry, I will take care of that part. Okay.
Mhm.
Does he have fleet, anything like that?
Nothing.
All right. All right. Wait, I'm sorry. The actual.
You gotta take out
MSRP.
the dealer trade transport. I already put the 750 in there.
I took that out.
You did?
Yeah.
And then just 5K down with the equity.
$5K down.
Yeah. 48 months.
All right. Yeah, 1393. All right.
You wanna email them real quick, or you wanna go talk to your shebang?
What?
You wanna email them now, or should I just, let me go call him?
I will follow back up with her.
Yay.
Available, thanks. All right, do you have a lot of Audi in America? Yeah, we have a lot of Audis here, absolutely. Doug, do you guys do many? We do lease deals primarily. Am I able to swap out the flat hood ornament on my 2023 E350 for a traditional pointed star? Are you talking about, well, so if you have a 2023 luxury line E350, you can remove the hood ornament, but and you can replace the grille with a sport line grille. That's a little bit more of a complicated process than just switching out the flat hood emblem for a raised one. Does selling cars get you some? I'm not sure I understand. Do you do business with people from other countries? Well, Raquel, I would love that. We don't really have a way of exporting cars to other countries, so I don't have a way to do that, unfortunately. Steve, congratulations on your new G63. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Brian, is a hot dog a sandwich? That's a great question. I'm not really an authority on that, but I know that will probably be debated until the end of time. Which is the better, S580 or Geely 63? Those are two totally different cars, two totally different vibes. So the S580 is, you know, the ultimate luxury sedan. The Geely 63 is a you know, performance car, right? It's a rocket ship SUV. They really don't have the same thing. They delivered guys, stream was cut, he got a pickle with his employee. I'm not sure what that means. What's your favorite car that you've had at the dealership? Boy, Nick, I wish I could answer that question more easily. I think one of my favorite cars we actually have right now is an SLS Black Series. I think that the Gullwing is a timeless car, and I love that there's nothing like it. Right, there's nothing like the Gullwing doors, so I just think that that's a really, really special car. Let's see, start a flash. Okay, all right. But yeah, this is awesome. Thank you for everyone who's in here and asking questions and hanging out. I appreciate it, and thank you for all the new followers. Matthew, hi, I love your content. Why is it so difficult to get a client advisor at so many dealerships, not yours, to call you back, give numbers, respond at all in any meaningful way? Matthew, if I could figure out the answer to that question, I'd be a billionaire, I'm sure. But it's I don't know. A lot of people just are lazy, right? They want everything to fall directly into their lap. So, I don't know. Some people just don't get it. There's no other way for me to put it. Best time to buy a GLS, Todd. If you want a GLS, I would get one now. Mercedes stepped up the GLS incentives in a big way this month. They're very well incentivized. There's great lease programs. There's also great programs if you're financing or paying cash. So, that's on remaining 2025s. 2026s, of course, we're just expecting across the board that 2026s are going to start to absorb the impact of the tariffs, right? Because Mercedes, like a lot of other manufacturers, has eaten the cost entirely on all 2025 models, which is amazing. But that does mean that there's a big unknown about what's going to happen on the 2026 models. Matthew, I get it. I don't understand either, and that's why I really encourage everybody to pick the dealership that you want to work with and not the car, right? Resist the urge to find a car, fall in love with it, and then just get, stuck with whatever dealership happens to have it. If you research the dealership and you find a dealership that you really, really want to work with, they will find you the car, right? Let them find the dealer, start a relationship, and let them make it easy for you. It's frustrating. I share your frustration, and we're on what sometimes feels like a fruitless mission to change the dealer world as best we can. But there's just, unfortunately, if people keep supporting the bad dealers, they're never going to have a reason to change. What is the best way to get out of negative equity? You need to lease a car that can be heavily discounted and incentivized. Max, any good deals on E-Class right now? The E-Class deals have definitely gotten better. The lease rate has come down on those, so they're much better than they were when they first launched as a 2024 model year. What you really need to look out for is add-ons and warranties and aftermarket products that you never agreed to. That's why it's very important to get a full itemized breakdown of the deal that you're looking at. Right, you don't want to use any dealership that's using a 4-square worksheet, which is a very simplistic. It's 4 quadrants, and it really just has kind of like a selling price, a trade price, a payment, and a down payment. That's going to be hiding a lot of things from you. You want to see. You don't necessarily need a buyer's order, but you need an itemized worksheet where you've got an MSRP and a selling price and taxes and all fees and an out-the-door price, right? You need to make sure that they're not manipulating that final number. What are your thoughts on created scarcity for vehicles such as the G-Wagon and the GTS for Porsche? Well, Kirk, I don't know that I would say that it's created scarcity so much as it's just very careful management of the market, right? You don't want to, if you overproduce a vehicle, then you will, the luster comes off of a car, right? It's a very careful dance where these manufacturers, trust me when I tell you, Mercedes wants to sell as many G-Wagons as possible and Porsche wants to sell as many GTs as possible. But they don't want to do it at the expense of cheapening the brand or watering it down, because no matter what it is, if you overproduce it, eventually it will lose its desire, right? Part of the human experience is that we generally want things that we can't have or that are hard to get. And so if a very desirable car is readily available, then it loses its appeal, right? So I'm not sad. I'm in a great mood. So I'm not sure what that's about. Emily, I drive an EQS. Actually, I drive an EQS 580. So my EQS 450 SUV got sold. Now I have an EQS 580 SUV, which is the same thing, just a little bit more powerful, a little bit bigger battery. No, Jared is not secretly working at BMW now. He is pursuing social media and social media training, and he's working with Russ, from, as best I can tell. Jimmy, how accurate are the deal meters on cars.com or Car Gurus? Jimmy, it's funny you mentioned that because, I did a post several months ago where I went and I looked at the same car that we had in stock on a bunch of different websites, cars.com, Edmunds, Car Gurus, and they all rated it differently, right? They all agreed that it was somewhere between a fair deal to a great deal, but it just underscores to me that you can't put too much trust in just any one of those because they all have a different algorithm, right? They're all measuring in a different way, and it's, I think they're generally all going to be helpful, but if you only look at one and don't compare it to others, then you might not get the full picture. So, what's up?
Can we give, for a few hours in service, Daryl Costin's brother just take a CLE 53 cab at his home because he's potentially looking to trade in his E450 cab tomorrow. Starts handling the service pickup.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're fine with that?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Good deal.
Just pick a duplicate car.
I'm just one of the market cars.
Yeah, just pick one that we have a duplicate of. Okay. JQ, I really like your content, though it's to the point, and you can tell you're very well versed and educated in Mercedes. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate the kind words. I really do. Geely 580 deals. Geely 580s, I mean, I'm not going to say that they do or don't have deals. There's just not many of them. Like, we'll make you a nice deal on the ones that we have. Russell, will the S-Class be getting a severe facelift in 2026? And they continue. So the S-Class is getting a big facelift in calendar year 2026, not model year. Okay, so the S-Class, the new S-Class is coming next year. Okay, not this year. Pretty much all of the redesigned product will be coming next year, not this year. All right, so a lot of confusion about that, but it's not going to be model year 2026s, they'll be model year 2027s. Opinions on Fragapane. Love frags. How are so many people buying MBs? I make 160K no debt other than my mortgage, and I don't feel like I could ever afford a Benz. Well, Todd, you might just be a very fiscally conservative person, and that's okay, right? But a lot of people lease Benzes. A lot of luxury cars get leased, which keeps your cost basis much lower. But based on the fact that you have no debt at all other than your mortgage, you sound to me like what we would call a blue, which is an analytical type, and you probably are just very conservative with your money, right? So, and that'll serve you well, 100%. Rusty, we use AccuTrade. We use AccuTrade for our vehicles, which is great because that's really the power of cars.com. Appraising our cars, we have removed ourselves from it entirely, which is great because that way we give max value to our consumers and our clients, and we don't put our personal opinions into it, right? G-Class, I really appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you to say. Very kind of you to say. And yeah, I mean, the kind words that from all of you are just, means a lot. It truly does. Do you sell a lot of, no. Can you talk about the Mercedes first-time buyer program? Yes, so Andrew, for people with very limited credit, Mercedes has a first-time buyer program. This is really for, it's aimed at recent college graduates or younger people that have never bought a car before. And if you have a certain, credit score and income level, then they will work with you to get a car that is going to be under $50,000 loan amount, right? So the amount that you're borrowing on the loan cannot go above $50,000. So that would open you up to entry level cars like CLA, GLA, GLB, even some C classes, some GLCs in certain instances, and this is through Mercedes-Benz Financial, right? So it works best with leasing. All right. No chance of an S-Class coupe comeback. It's been rumored that it might come out as a super highline car. Mercedes is working on a kind of like a full blown Maybach revival and having some halo cars that will come out in the future, and limited run cars. So we might get an S-Class coupe type car, with that. But again, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Let's see, are they dropping the EQ? So EQ production has scaled back significantly to kind of meet the more accurate demand level, and it's been wonderful because now we have a much more reasonable number of EVs. Sales continue to be very strong, so don't mistake them pulling back on production as EVs aren't selling well. They're just not accelerating sales quite like they expected that they would. So start a podcast, please. Definitely something that I have thought about doing, and had a podcast for a little while, kind of back in the very beginning. But how that would look exactly, I've never quite been able to figure out. So I'm open to suggestions on what you would want to see out of a podcast. Nikki, I don't know how you feel about me. Okay, that's fair. Alan, what's going on? How are you, brother? Alan's a social media friend, gotten a couple of cars from us. Always good to see you. Thank you for the support. Trying to buy a C300. My credit score is new. Could it work with zero down? It's possible. It's possible. How excited are we for the return of an AMG wagon to the lineup? You have no idea. Not only that, but an all-new model that we've never had before. So the E53 wagon, I am ecstatic for that. That is going to be so cool. I'm very much looking forward to that. Thanks for the responses, by the way. Not sure MB has nailed a design like the AMG CLE 53 in years. Hope it's selling well. Matthew, I agree with you entirely. I am like the biggest fan of the CLE 53. It is a stunning car. Pictures and videos don't do it justice. In person, it's so muscular. It's just such a good looking car, and they have been selling like crazy, and they deserve to be selling like crazy. Alan, my pleasure. Absolutely. Robert, I would definitely buy a car from you, but I do prefer BMW. Hey, I get it. I appreciate the kind words, and BMW is an amazing brand, and I get it. A lot of people prefer BMW. There's no right or wrong answer there. Doug, most likely the EV tax incentive is going away December 31st, 2025. Will MB step up to keep selling EVs? David, that's a good question. I don't know what their plan's going to be. I don't know. I'm sure if that goes away entirely and there's no way for them to continue offering it, that it's going to have an impact for sure. But I do think that they're kind of getting out ahead of that, and they've really adjusted their production levels. And I think that now that we have a more reasonable level of EVs in stock, it's made them a lot easier to sell in the situations that they make sense. They're great for absorbing negative equity and helping people to get out of a bad situation and hit the start fresh button in 3 years. Or a lot of people just, I'm a fan, right? I'm not saying that as trying to sell them to anybody, but I drive an EQS. I love them. So they're good cars for sure. I think that a lot of people decided they didn't like them before they've ever even driven them. So Heather, yes, most dealerships are 100% commission in some form or fashion, right? It's just a matter of how that commission is paid. Let's see, E63. No, the E63 is, rumored to be next year. I'm hoping that it'll be end of next year. So it's not dead. It just has been delayed more than we expected that it would be. Feeling good. You're an MB Club of America member. Yes, there are discounts. So that up to $11,000 that you're referring to is on probably an EQ model, not on a CLE 450. What's going on? Okay, perfect. What Merc is closest to the SQ8 from Audi? That would be a GLE 63 coupe.
The guy that played from Cheers passed away.
Oh.
Big fat guy.
Yeah. Norm?
Norm.
Yeah. Will the E63 be a plug-in hybrid? Probably. You're looking for a GLS AMG 63. We've got several, got lots. Tell Colin I said hi. He just walked away, Ryan, but if he comes back in, I'll tell him. Derek, can you do a video walking through the leasing process? Yeah, I've done a lot of videos on leasing, but I can definitely do one that is more in depth. I think that you're asking that question from YouTube, and one of the things, if you're not following me already on YouTube, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please, I would love if you would subscribe to YouTube, because, Instagram, TikTok, they all get, Facebook, they all get kind of the same shorter form videos. But on YouTube, I can do much longer content that can go more in depth on something like this, right? A 10-minute video on all the ins and outs of leasing wouldn't really do well on Instagram and TikTok, but has a home more on YouTube. So that is probably a good one. Would be happy to go through that. Derek, if there's any specific information about leasing or any particulars that you would really want to know more about, I would welcome you to email that to me so I can make sure that I really nail that video for all of you as best as I possibly can. So, Zachary, algorithm has brought me to your page. I like the content. It's helpful and gives insight. I'm not a Mercedes person, but I did just order an Audi RS3. Had to go to 2 dealerships to get a good experience. Zachary, I do appreciate you watching the content, and Audi RS3, that's a great car. Nice choice. And yeah, there are still too many dealerships out there that are not giving good experiences, so I understand your pain, right? I'm doing everything I can. We're doing everything that we can here to change the game as much as we can, but unfortunately, too many consumers continue to support dealerships that don't provide good experiences, and that just they'll never be forced to change. Raquel, I appreciate you saying that, really do. How's your month going? We have had a really great month. We've been very busy. We're having a lot of fun. And, so, yeah, it's just keeping the pedal to the metal. Dan, you never seem surprised or judgmental by the amount of negative equity you see. You're so optimistic when you run into these situations. Well, I think that, a part of it is that I understand where a lot of it comes from, right? A lot of it is a combination of COVID inflation and then people that just have made some decisions they wish they could have unmade when it comes to car buying. And I guess the reason that I'm optimistic is because I see it as an opportunity to hopefully get somebody on the right track. I know it seems so crazy, like people in my comments are always like, oh, if you've got this much negative equity, then a Mercedes is definitely not what somebody should be doing. But in some ways, it might be somebody's only option, because you need a combination of available discounts and also a certain price point in a car, because the more negative equity you have, the more expensive the car will need to be for a bank to be comfortable with absorbing that negative. But I think that the main reason I get optimistic is because my hope is that I can hopefully provide some education to a car buyer that they'd never gotten before. And I find that a lot of people have just been given bad advice over the years, right? This is kind of one of those things where people buy cars kind of the way that maybe their parents bought cars, or the way that their parents believed was the right way to buy cars, and without understanding that everybody's situation is different. There's no one-size-fits-all approach that works for buying a car, and you really have to figure out what makes the most sense for you based on, one, your driving habits, and two, also your personal preferences and the way you're wired, right? Some people like getting new stuff. They like having cars. Cars make them happy, and so they're gonna spend more money on cars in their life than somebody like, I forget his name, but the guy that has no debt, right? Some people can drive a 15-year-old Toyota for 20 years and then just get another 15-year-old Toyota. Some people can't do that and be happy, right? So for those people, I'm always looking at it as an opportunity to educate them and hopefully get them on the right track so that future car purchases that they make will allow them to be happy with what they're driving without making a totally financial, reckless decision. Nick, are you and your friends having fun in here saying that I look sad without Jared? Is this like a coordinated comment stream, everyone coming in here? Because I'm doing great. How long does the GT63 Pro hold its value? Is there a huge depreciation? I think that, the Pros will hold their value quite well. I can't say that it'll be like a 63, but it'll be better than most cars of that price point. What's the range on G580E? Any certified and yeah, we have several new ones in stock. They're, we have great deals on those. Those are going to be 250 to 300 miles of range on a charge. John just got a Sealy 53 Cabriolet. Do they all come with dash cams, or does it have to be spec'd that way? It has to be spec'd that way, John, but congratulations on your new Sealy 53. I had 5 cars out at one point. The problem is 20 tires are expensive and all the maintenance. Oh, you had 5 cars. Yeah, no, 20 tires would be expensive. Holy cow. So, Doug said, have you guys heard of Steve Richards? He's all over YT8, it seems. I have not heard of Steve Richards, no. What's the range? Oh, yeah, we got to that one. I had a GLB 250 2021, but it was a mess. I'm sorry to hear that, Franz. The 2025 GLB 35, I mean, GLB would have been a relatively new model at that point in time, so any issues that they may have had then, I'd like to think have been cleaned up. I don't really hear of the GLB being a problematic car. So, and nothing quite the size of a full-blown Wagoneer, but we do have the GLS 450, which is like the size of a short Escalade or like a Tahoe Yukon. So I drive 30,000 miles per year. How in the world would I lease? Kathy, I would argue that it's smarter for you to lease than people who drive minimum mileage, because you need the guaranteed exit strategy that a lease will provide you, not the uncertainty and massive depreciation of what happens when you buy a car and drive it 30,000 miles a year. But it's been very clear to me that people are very unfamiliar with the concept of a high mileage lease. So there's a lot of dealerships that aren't even familiar with it. So I've had other dealerships that I would expect to know about high mile leasing that don't even know that you can offer it. So David, congratulations on your new G550. I'm glad you're loving it. That's awesome. Edgar, I'm a GSM for 4 stores in Texas. Curious how many units you guys sell a month. We do about 150 to 200 a month. So can you get me out of your BMW lease 10 months early? Absolutely. Let's do it. But again, thank you to everybody who's here hanging out and asking questions. I apologize that I can't always get to every question, but I will try to go on live for at least 45 minutes every day. If you're not following me already, would love and appreciate a follow or a subscription if you're over on YouTube. Thank you to everybody for the support. And Shane, 2026 calendar year for GLE, not model year. So next year, the GLE and the GLS. So you're 2 model years away from a refresh on a GLE. But thank you for all the new followers. Thank you for all the questions. I'm going to hop off and get our day wrapped up here. Yes, we do. We are hiring for any sales reps. You can find us on Indeed, Mercedes-Benz of North Olmsted. Feel free to apply. We're looking for good people to join the team always. Even before Jared left, we're looking for people, right? We want to grow the team. So, thanks to everyone for hanging out, and hopefully we'll have some time to get on tomorrow. Maybe I'll see you then. But until next time, hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Okay.